Hello, 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 hello. Welcome everybody to the third episode. Today's third episode is actually called Narratives. Before I even continue and dive into any content, let me set some context. I just want to let you know that I appreciate all the feedback that I've been getting and the growing listenership, because I remember getting questioned as to why was there no episode last week. Well, when you read the description, you'll find out that actually we get an episode bi-weekly. So I kind of spoiled you guys. I kind of spoiled you guys with a back-to-back episode. That was because I wanted to see what the reception would be like, and it was also for those starting blocks. With that being said, it's not going to happen like that anymore. We are going to continue bi-weekly. We're going to have these conversations, and I'm going to let you know what's happening. So narratives. How does it come about? It was in a lovely Johannesburg environment, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine and colleague. Basically, he's now a brother. We were talking about departure points and what people tell themselves in their heads. So, for instance, when you think about it, we can watch the same movie or read the same scripture and still walk away with different narratives. Like, think about it. How many times have you been in the cinema or been in front of your TV, watched a movie, and the person next to you interacted with the movie and also interpreted the movie differently from you, yet you were just merely centimeters apart? At times, imagine you're going there and you're watching with your partner. I know. A lot of people will actually be like, oh, Banele, you trading on a very fine line here. It's tough and a fine line, I know. But let's be honest, departure points are different. And before I even dive into that content of departure points, what is a departure point? So a point of departure is the place where you're coming from. There's a saying that goes, we can sleep on the same bed, but we do not share the same dreams. In a nutshell, for me, how I interpret this is as we can be in the same vicinity, but because of our backgrounds, how we interpret certain messages, certain words, certain themes, certain tones, certain looks, certain even temperatures is not the same. And this builds a different narrative, because the narrative builds upon the departure points, your history, what you think, what you eat, how you think, where you sleep, where you wake up, where you work out, if you work out. These are things which we actually tend to forget, and the cons of narratives are actually, like, for instance, if you say something and for me it lands differently, I don't like the way you're telling me the truth. So you say, for instance, Banele, you dark, or you speak in a different way, and I don't like that. Probably that's because from your end, you're telling me the truth. You're letting me know that you see me as dark. When you think about it, there's nothing wrong with that. Light is light, dark is dark. Somewhere in between is somewhere in between. So what is that? But then when you look at my end, I'm looking at it as, oh, now you're looking at color. Oh, all right. And maybe my accents, because of my English accents, the way it lands to me, it tells me that you think of me as a certain way, and that certain way, depending on where I grew up. Like, for instance, for me, I grew up in a township. I still live and breathe there, by the way. And I visit time to time. What happens there is you get treated in a lesser way than you would like to be if you speak the way that I speak. And that's how I've grown up. So for me, when you actually touch on that, it's not a good connotation. Whereas on your end, you were telling me, you were telling me that you like the way that I speak. You can tell that I went to a certain type of school. I was brought up in a certain way. I think in a different way. But then again, guys, let's not confuse accents with the way of thinking. These two do not necessarily correlate all the time. They're not perpendicular. Let's get that one very clear. I've met some guys who speak a certain way, and yeah, let's just say parallel lines do not make us equal. So on the other flip side, let's look at pros of narratives. The pro about a narrative is it gives us that distinct feeling. It gives us that individual feeling. The individuality that we have comes from narratives, and our experiences make us different. And that's the whole beauty about it. Because imagine if we were all thinking the same, had the same experiences. What would innovation actually be? How would we measure progress? Because we all going through the same thing all the time. So from my experience, studying history, these narratives are the key ingredients for growth, for innovation. Treated correctly and harnessed the right way, they can actually propel us to the next phase of where we see ourselves. I, for instance, have been exposed to multitudes of areas and multitude of experiences, and yet I have never left the shores of South Africa as yet. I've experienced anything overseas via the media. And when I say media, I'm not talking about the way people normally talk about media. I actually am talking about YouTube. It could be Netflix, it could actually be DSTV, it could be a number of things. But the way you consume the media, through the medium that you actually have, it literally starts writing a different story and a different chapter and how things actually get done. For me, if we were to unlock that, a lot could be done. So before I wrap this up, it's probably the longest one we've had. But before I wrap this up, I just want to know, how have global or local narratives affected your growth and achievements? And if given a chance, what narrative would you have changed? Whether it's from an external factor or an internal factor. I am Banele Tshabalala, and this is a Thursday Thoughts podcast. Till next time, see you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. I'll be sure waiting to actually respond to you guys. Until next time, cheers.